welcome to Very So Much 90 Day. My name's 𝗬𝗓. I'm a family law attorney.
And I'm Charlie, and I'm a student of public relations and her boyfriend.
And today we're talking about the first episode of Single Life.
Season 3. We're back at it.
We're back.
You know, this show is a totally different vibe than the
really
other shows.
is.
And it takes, I think it's a little bit of a gear change for me.
I feel like you struggle with these ones a little bit more.
I
You
do.
burn out quicker.
Yeah, I mean, part of it is, you know, not to give away the ghost too much, but Debbie is a little bit exhausting for me sometimes. So,
Debbie's fault.
yeah, even though I want her to be happy.
Right.
And I'm not here to crush her dreams.
No. We'll get into that, though.
Yes. But season 3, some returning faces.
Yeah. All returning faces so far.
Right, but from the second season of Single Life, not exactly the same.
Okay. You're much better at keeping track of that stuff than me.
Natalie, I might have been on all 3 seasons
Wow.
of the Single Life. Don't quote me on that.
Okay.
Caesar. First time we've seen him in years.
We've missed him.
Yeah, I had to really be reminded of his storyline.
Me too.
Yeah. But let's get into it, right?
Let's just go for it.
Let's check in with Natalie first. How do you feel about Natalie?
Natalie, our Ukrainian blonde goddess, 37. We first met her while she was still in a relationship with her husband, Michael, in Washington, where they were both miserable. And I think we could safely say no one was having fun.
No one was having fun.
And now she's living the single life dream in Florida. But we start this season with her in LA.
I came to America for love, but love is really hard and you never know what's gonna happen. I'm a total mess, whatever, God bless.
She's flown out to see Josh. She calls Josh.
That's right.
A man that she apparently has only been on one date with before flying out to LA to see him, which I didn't realize that until she said that it was their second date.
We met at a modeling event that Josh put on in Florida.
Great job. You look beautiful.
We went on a date and I immediately clicked with him.
And so she's looking for romance from a man who runs a modeling agency and is so busy that he can't even meet her when she arrives in LA when he's asked her to come to LA to visit him. And she's ready on date number 2 to say, what level of commitment are you giving me? Because I need babies.
Immediately. I need babies, yes.
And I think her clock's ticking because she's 37 and I
Yeah.
think she feels it. But I think she's going into this with some expectations that aren't being met or are necessarily realistic.
Yes, I agree with that as well. I was also surprised that it was their second date because her speaking to the photographer that Josh hired to take these fancy photos, I mean, she was sort of talking like she would be to a friend trying to get the dirt after, I would guess, a number of dates. But between the first and second date, it seemed like there was a lot of mining going on right off the bat.
Really intense.
But I would say, if you felt like, okay, say that I wanted children, would you want to know that on the second date in that way that Natalie is forcefully talking about it? Is it better to get that goal out of the way immediately, or is it something you feel like you should warm up to?
I feel like in Natalie's situation, because she wants them so badly, and it's kind of the forefront of her mind, I think she needs to find someone who is equally kind of at that level. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing for her to put it out there. I could see how it would come across as very intense, but like, you know, she's kind of at the point where she's like, I gotta find the person. And so like just putting it all out there, not with Josh, that doesn't seem to be working, but with someone to find the person that's on the same level as her, I don't think is a horrible strategy.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Maybe if both parties were excited and always had been excited about the prospect of having children, it maybe isn't such a scary thing to bring up and talk about right off the bat. Like, oh yeah, you know, I want to get married someday and have kids. And so maybe you're right that it is. Just for some reason, to me, it felt like, I mean, maybe it was because it was in conjunction with Are We Exclusive?
Yeah, it still felt like a lot.
It felt like a lot of planning that he was not ready for. And I don't know.
And it didn't seem like it was a vibe he was even giving off.
No.
So.
He has 2 kids already with 2 different mothers, which is fine. I mean, no judgment there. Things happen, of course. But, I mean, it seems like he already struggles, like you said, with time management, running a business
Right.
with women that are making her clearly uncomfortable
Very insecure.
already, plus
Yeah.
has 2 other children to attend to. And if she feels like she's not getting enough attention just as like a second date vibe,
Yeah.
imagine what it's going to feel like when he's
No.
clearly working these like 12 to 15 hour days potentially, and she's at home with a toddler or an infant.
Yeah.
I just can't imagine that that's quite going to go the way that she wants it to.
I think you're right.
So the goals might not be aligned on this one, but she thinks he's cute, and I want her to have a good time.
Yeah.
I think-
especially after Michael
Yeah.
living her best life.
And I think they foreshadowed us seeing Michael again
yeah,
in
they sure
future
did.
episodes.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to believe that they really will reconcile,
I
but
know. It seemed
they're certainly cutting it that way, right?
they are. But 90 Days fooled us many, many times
Oh
with
my
their
gosh.
editing. So who
So good at
knows?
it.
Who knows what could
Right.
be happening? My theory, though, is that it's not working with Josh. She's realizing that she really wants this baby. She doesn't know who else to turn to. And Michael's the most obvious choice to be like, well, we're already married and I really want a child. And so here we are.
Yeah, like I know all of your quirks already.
Right.
I know the fights we're going to have.
Yeah.
I know how to navigate them. But, and I think we talked a little bit about it. Like, I don't know that I don't like Michael necessarily. I think he's really depressed, is
Yeah.
the vibe that I get. And he's certainly dismissive. And the alliance that I don't think it's ever a good sign if you're building an alliance with your mom, talking every morning on your way to work, driving in the truck at 5:30 a.m., just shit talking your current wife.
Yeah.
You're just building
Seems bad.
alliances. It's
Seems
not the
bad.
way to have a relationship.
No, I just don't see it being repairable.
I
this
can't
point.
imagine it either, but maybe you're right. They're just like, well, we're here already. But I mean, the fact that he looks like, we'll talk about it when we actually see an episode.
Yeah,
but
we'll see what
I
we
was-
actually get.
I was surprised to see Michael's mother
Yes.
cut in anywhere at all.
Back in the
So
picture.
I think that's what really shot a flare in the sky for me.
Yeah. Rough. But I hope Natalie is at least having some fun. She seems to be a lot happier than she was with Michael.
Truly. I even hope that both of them are. Hopefully Michael is smiling every once in a while. We all deserve to work on ourselves. He
That's
wasn't, as far as I know, like physically abusive to her, or they were just not good for each other.
Yeah.
So I don't know what he needs. A lady Bubba.
A lady
perhaps.
Bubba.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did say that. We talk about Bubbas on this show in case you've missed it. A lot of the people, especially ladies on these shows, tend to they're going for these men with like 6-packs who are 26 in Eastern Europe, but really they just need like a nice salt of the earth Bubba from like, I don't know, Michigan.
Yeah.
And we were talking, Natalie is not one of those ladies that needs a Bubba, but she ended up with a Bubba in Michael.
Exactly.
Didn't work.
Rural Washington.
Bubba.
In construction, I believe. Seemed to make
Yes.
good money, but a Bubba.
A Bubba.
Yeah.
They lived in a trailer.
Right.
It's not a Natalie. It has nothing about that screams Natalie based on
Right.
what we know about her.
So does that mean that Michael would be perfectly paired up with somebody else on the show potentially that we could see?
Ooh, maybe.
We'll have to think on
We'll
that
have to
maybe.
think on that.
It's a little too early to tell.
Moving on. Next up, we have the return of Caesar. Caesar from Jacksonville, North Carolina, 49 years old.
I'm Caesar Mack. I'm 49, and I'm from Jacksonville, North Carolina.
And last we saw him, he got his heart broken in Mexico by a Ukrainian woman named Maria, who may or may not have been fully catfishing him. We're not sure.
Yes. I mean, there were video calls that happened, so we do know
That's
that
true.
she existed.
Yeah.
Unlike when I think back, follow me, season 4, before the 90 Days with David, who dated the Ukrainian woman. I forget what her name is. And that was, I mean, at least the first big shock for us.
That's probably to
as
this date the
watchers.
biggest shock for me that she showed up.
That she was a real person.
Yeah.
I'm convinced that they just hired the model that works for the chatbot company that was
Right.
taking money from David and pushed her out to meet him. But she did seem to talk to him as if she knew some of their history. So I don't
Right.
know if there was a briefing that happened before the meeting, but the fact that she was even real at all and not just an AI sort of designed by
Major
Elon
shock.
Musk
Yeah.
character. Yeah,
God.
a total shock. But so Maria
Yes.
is real.
She's real. And she broke Caesar's heart while he was
Yeah.
in Mexico. And that's the last we saw of him. Now he's back on the Ukraine train once more.
Yes. I felt very bad about that relationship when we first met Caesar because he was working 2 jobs, sending, I believe he said $800 every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You're my husband.
I thought Maria was going to be the one. I thought she felt the same. So I gave her money when she needed it. I'd say it was like around $800 every 2 weeks.
Which is a lot of money. I mean, he's a nail technician and he was working 7 days a week plus doing other, I don't know, 47 maybe at that time, years old. It's a lot of work for a guy to do that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this episode he said he spent about $40,000
Right.
over the course of his relationship on Maria.
It's a lot. So I was kind of pleased to see him taking a painting class.
That was nice.
Relax a little bit.
He was being a little weird to the ladies around
Certainly.
him, but he's putting himself out there.
Are you a runner? Because you've been running through my mind all day.
Has that line worked?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a passive-aggressive hitting on people at all times.
Always.
Whether you just have to be a woman.
Yeah.
And there was that moment off camera where all of the fandom of 90 Day Fiancé encouraged him and Yolanda to get together.
That's right.
After the Williams thing fell apart and Yolanda struck it down.
That's right. He went for it, and she said no.
Yeah. But I think you and I, even independently, were like, that would make a great couple.
Right.
And I still stand behind that.
I
But
agree. I think Yolanda just needs to get over needing a six-pack on her man, and I think that they could be happy together and find
yeah.
love.
I mean, maybe it's that Yolanda's worked so hard on her own physique
That's
that
right, I
she
forgot about
really
that, yeah.
wants somebody who is matching that energy, I guess.
I don't know, but he was biking everywhere in this episode, and he had exercise equipment in
right.
his sad apartment that
It's
kind of
true.
made us depressed to see. But he seems to enjoy fitness.
Caesar, put a poster up. Put
Yeah.
something on
An
your walls.
art on a wall,
Anything.
a floor lamp,
Oh, my
a
Lord.
throw pillow.
Yeah.
Yolanda, reconsider. That's my
Truly.
message.
So I think we talked a little bit off camera, obviously, about the psychology of somebody like Caesar who has had so little luck apparently on online dating or meeting people. He seems to be constantly putting himself into public situations where he's going to meet women. So it's painting class, going to a Irish themed bar to look at a bunch of profiles of Ukrainian women with
That's
his
That's
other
right.
friend.
Yeah.
But he talked openly about always trying to put himself into these situations where he's going to meet somebody.
Yeah.
So what does it take for somebody to give up on that dream of, I don't know. I just feel like there are dating apps out there for somebody like Caesar that you could be
Match.com.
successful at.
Yeah.
But I have some suspicions about what his type is, which could be 22 to 28-year-old blonde women.
Yeah.
But we also talked a little bit about something we've always struggled with 90 Day Fiancé, which is a power dynamic.
Yeah, definitely. And just the idea that there's something, he's insecure about his ability to pick up women in the United States because, you know, he's been unsuccessful. I'm sure people have said some mean shit to him or something that has given him a bit of a complex. And now he's really interested in Ukrainian women. And yes, the women that he's seeing on these profiles are beautiful, but like to be obsessed with all women from one country, like they don't all look like that, you know? It's like a weird thing. And he kept saying like, they don't care about what you look like. They just care that you like make them feel nice and take care of them. And so it feels like he likes Ukrainian women because it's easier for him to like buy their love because they are more desperate. And so then does it become kind of a creepy, like, I can't get women to fall for me naturally, so I'm going to go for Ukrainian women because to me in my head, they're all desperate for American men and American money.
Yeah, especially leading up to a war. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of
Right.
desperation to get out of Ukraine, obviously.
But also it's a generalization that I don't think is true. I think it's just something he's made up in his head.
Sure.
And he's like, all Ukrainian women just want American men for their money, and therefore I love Ukrainian women.
Yeah, and not just Caesar. I mean, I think it's a
thing.
It's a thing.
We've seen a lot of Ukrainian women on this
But
show.
we've also seen it with the Philippines. We've seen
That's
it
true.
with, I mean, there's been plenty of men on this show that seem to at least subconsciously be taking that approach to meeting women, where it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can't meet any women. I mean, even Richard from the UK version, just saying, I don't like dating UK women.
Oh, yeah.
They're too much of a hassle. It's too much hard work. I just want to meet somebody that's literally going to come into my apartment, do all of my dishes for me, clean up my entire house while also working a full-time job and then giving me massages at night.
That's right. So I went to the Philippines.
Right.
Yeah.
So
It's weird.
It's weird.
It's a weird theme on this show.
right. I'm not here for it, but I'm weirded out by
It's
it.
weird.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. I mean, there's been some really fun flashes of 𝗓𝗧r in a top hat in Ukraine talking to Ukrainian ladies. So I can't wait to see how this unfolds. And I kept making the joke that's really not funny that, based on what they're filming, it looks like it's close to, March 2022 when Russia invaded. So my off-color joke that I kept making was 𝗓𝗧r's still there.
Still there.
To this day.
Can't get out.
He went and he never came back.
His top hat is just a little bit more worn
That's right.
out, a couple of holes in the sides. Still eating at that same table. Yeah.
𝗓𝗧r. Yeah, we'll see how that unfolds.
Yeah, I will say it doesn't seem like a lot has changed in his life in the last 2
No.
years. So, but, COVID, whose life
That's
has
true.
really
That's
changed.
true, yeah,
and
yeah.
That, many people's lives have changed, but
A lot of people have stayed.
a lot of people have stayed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, fair. All right, moving on from 𝗓𝗧r, we've got your favorite, Debbie, 69, from Las Vegas, baby.
I'm Debbie. I'm from Las Vegas. I'm 69 years old, and I'm not looking to be in the friend zone.
Yeah.
What? Tell me why Debbie
I don't
makes
know.
you so uncomfortable.
I think we were talking about it earlier. I think it might have been just the shock of going from never talking about sex at all or dating when Colt and Vanessa and Larissa and I can't remember her name were all living in the house, and she had to constantly listen to Colt have sex 3 times a day.
Allegedly.
And to go from that to, first off, it was a shock seeing her in the promos for this, I think, first or second season of The Single Life to begin with, where I was like, oh my gosh, she's interested in dating?
Yeah.
6 months ago, I decided to change everything about me. Because I just started dating for the first time in 40 years.
She dyed her hair. She
Yeah.
sort of glowed up, which, like, part of me was like, I'm glad that you're doing this. Like,
Yeah.
take advantage of your life. It's never too late to have a good time. But I'm just, like, exhausted by the crude, like, sex jokes. Like, it's like every
Constant.
single sentence is about, like, something looking like a dick, or, like, I can't wait to have sex.
Minor microphone malfunction, but now we're back. Yeah, so with Debbie, she also is the same age as my mother, and I think that really creeps me out too. And in this episode, she went after a man with a long white ponytail and a big beard, which is someone my mother would go for. And so it's too close to home. She's definitely not like my mother, but like, we're trying not to be ageist.
Right.
And we want Debbie to live her life, and again, it's never too late to find love or intimacy, but like the constant talk
Yeah.
about sex and her boyfriend,
Battery operated boyfriend.
What turns me on the most is the way he compliments me. I get twinges. If that man can do those twinges, damn, I could date that. I could also take him home and, have a good time with him.
And we've already seen clips of this Santa Claus man coming and rubbing chocolate on her chest, and I don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it from any couple, frankly, on this show, but like, yikes. I don't want it.
Yeah. I've said that it would be fun if Discovery Plus built something into their app where you could opt out of storylines for 90 Day Fiancé.
We don't want to see Debbie.
But controversially, last episode, we said Jamal banned from watching
Happily Ever After with
Happily
Kim
Ever.
and Usman.
Yeah. He can't be exposed to that.
No, he doesn't need to see
But
that.
Colty is required to watch this because
Yeah.
he
He
forced
deserves
his
it.
mom to listen to so much sex.
He deserves it.
Constant.
Yeah. And then we see Colty, the return
Yeah.
of Colty in this episode, and it didn't go well.
Ugh. I really missed him. That's what's sad.
Hey, you really like cult content.
I mean,
it's
I do.
weird.
I want it. I don't know
Explain
why.
yourself.
I want it. I mean, I would prefer not to have Debbie with Colt as a sidekick content, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's such a star player in the drama. I mean,
so gross.
I need to be re-upped with Ed every couple of seasons at
Yeah,
least.
you love the
like,
toxic players.
I just want some of them. Some of them are.
Some of
like,
them are cross the line.
For instance, Jesse.
Hate him. trash
so
human.
toxic that it's like not fun.
No,
you
yeah,
know?
totally.
But Colt walks into the apartment to pick up his free weights, I guess, and looks like a wizard in a house coat.
Once again, we had some microphone difficulties, so we're back to rounding out this episode with just this one mic.
Not really sure what's happening, but we're gonna power through.
We're soldiering on.
Absolutely. So I was saying, Colt returned to pick up his free weights in a wizard kimono if I'm not mistaken, he might have worn to one of the tell-alls potentially. The beard is hideous.
The wizard beard.
I don't know whether or not, I mean, some of the things that they said in their conversation felt like things that maybe he had talked with a therapist about.
He was using therapist speech a little bit.
Which is an interesting twist.
Yeah. Good if true. Big if true.
So saying we have an unhealthy relationship, we have a codependent relationship, and then Debbie, I mean, you want to talk about it? Debbie becoming vulnerable in the moment?
Well, I mean, yeah, it was, I don't know if we're missing something or what, but Debbie was like, did you ever consider that I need you? Which, yeah, okay, there's definitely some codependency there. But Colt freaked the fuck out and was like, you treat me like a child, blah, 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 yelled at her and then left. And part of me does wonder if he is in therapy, maybe he's been in therapy for just a couple months and he's very deep in the process of working through the codependency he has with his mother, and so now he's being really reactive, and anything she says that feels codependent, he completely pushes her away and overreacts. That might be what we saw.
That's an interesting thought, yeah.
But at the same time, it was like way next level compared to what we saw Debbie say, I need you, and I feel like you left me, and like we had signed a lease, and I can't afford this place now, and I think that's all pretty valid. And like after, 36 years of severe codependency, he's trying to just like leave me the fuck alone. Like, that's not really fair to her either.
No, it isn't. And I can't imagine a therapist in the world that would say, have zero empathy with your mom while you're working through this.
The lack of empathy, verging on sociopath, that Colt displays sometimes is pretty shocking.
I also thought about a couple other elements. Could it be that Colt has read things about himself on the internet, which is people making fun of his codependent relationship with his mom, so he's incredibly sensitive because of that? Could it be that he and Vanessa have created like a hyper-steroid alliance against Debbie where it's an easy place to push any problems that they might be having together and blame it on whatever they have going on dynamically with Debbie. So Vanessa doesn't talk to her at all, and every time that they have any sort of conversation or contact with Debbie, it's incredibly negative and charged because of that? Or are there independent things happening outside of Debbie between Vanessa and Colt that are making Colt really, really reactionary, incapable of controlling his emotions? I know that they're living with Vanessa's cousin currently, which seems, I mean, I think that would be stressful for me as a 36-year-old man, but I don't know. It's one of those. Something is happening.
I mean, we talked about, he's certainly not let himself go a little bit in a way that indicates something is off in his life. I feel like, you know, when you're happy in a relationship, I think it's normal to gain some weight or something, but he's like grown a wizard beard and like wears clothing that is very sloppy, even to like the tell-alls, and seems really unhinged in a new way that like, I think there's something going on.
Yeah, it's like forever COVID clothes.
Yeah.
Is what he's wearing. I also wonder if he's just like, I'm over 90 day, but they want me. So maybe he's getting paid a good amount of money to just like come on that one episode.
God,
I mean, the people want it. I mean, even Seth Rogen tweeted about Colt.
Really?
Yeah, where he said it all comes down to Colty and his mom. Period. He's getting to people. So, you know, I think TLC, as little money as they give everybody else on that show, probably have some money to entice a few people back if they want to.
That makes sense.
I would love a Colt and Vanessa season, and I can't imagine TLC didn't want to give it to us.
That's true. Yeah.
But they did do some of those shorts, which were quite awkward, which were like 15, 20 minutes long during COVID time where they were shooting them themselves. We watched one with Kalani and can't remember his name off the top of my head, but it felt very like staged.
It was weird.
It was just
I didn't
strange.
need it.
Yeah. So
Well,
who knows?
we got a glimpse of Colt at least, but now it seems as though it's going to be all just Debbie having sex from here on out.
Truly.
So strap
Yeah.
in.
I have a feeling that's all we're going to get from Colt outside of another tell-all.
Yeah, I think you're
So-
right. But I bet they'll bring him back for this tell-all.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Next up, Tanya.
Tanya.
Tanya. Back.
She's back.
Away from Sinjin.
Yeah, on her
Sinjin's
own.
off, traveling the country in a car, sleeping with a lot of people, I assume, and just being the carefree hippie that he is.
Should we tell him about that time that he DM'd me?
Yeah, absolutely.
One time, well, I initiated. I DM'd Sinjin because I, if you don't know, have a separate YouTube channel where I talk about the law, and I really wanted to do a breakdown of the 90-day fiance contract. So I messaged a bunch of people, or like my favorite people from the show, just to be like, hey, could you give me the contract? And Tim responded, and he said they'd kick my ass, and no. And Sinjin responded, and I think he also said they'd kick my ass, and no. And then he said, but if you're a lawyer, I have other things I'd want to talk about,
Right.
or something.
Was that it? I felt like it was even more personal than that, but
I don't remember.
I felt like it was like, but I'd love to chat about other stuff.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, like what? And then he never responded.
Look,
So-
if I lose out to Sinjin,
We're now personal friends,
Yeah.
me and Sinjin.
I might want to be friends with Sinjin too. I mean, I wouldn't love him hitting on you the whole time, but he keeps things into perspective.
Maybe
I
he
guess.
just literally needed some legal help.
That could be. I hope he's living his best life. But
Yeah.
speaking of living his best life, that seemed to be the biggest problem in he and Tanya's relationship. I keep calling her Tanya because that's what Sinjin called her forever. But Tanya and he's relationship really fell apart because he didn't want to stop drinking 24 hours a day and ultimately did not want to have children,
Yeah.
right? Which is, remember the moment where Tanya found that out?
Yeah, I mean, like, he'd kind of been, like, wishy-washy, and then they're out to dinner with, like, I don't know, her family or something, and it's four of them, and she's sitting next to him, and across the table to them, he's like, yeah, I don't think I ever want to have kids. And she was like,
Right.
what?
Because she had indicated that, like, that was a
Huge deal for her.
a date to conversation,
Yeah.
potentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
Make or break.
So they, ended up not working, but then kind of hung on for a weirdly long time. But now Tanya is in Aruba, living her best life, wearing a lot of bikinis, and has found somehow another bartender in another foreign country I don't know what she wants from him, but it seemed like she wanted to have fun, but also like she's looking for love again, and she's looking for love in all the wrong places.
Yeah. And I don't know who's editing 90 Day, but there's a lot of boob content.
Right now, Aruba's island vibes make it seem like a great place to heal a broken heart.
There's a lot of boob content
Yeah.
this season.
They really like pushing.
Especially on the single life. They make
Yeah.
they make the single life a lot more sex forward, I think.
I suppose. I guess that makes sense if
Yeah,
you
I
think
suppose.
about it.
Yeah.
Maybe. I
It
don't
sells. Sex sells.
know. Yeah. I mean, there's no fertilizer in this one.
And thank God.
And thank God. Yeah, I agree. I think we both talked about how it's confusing to kind of figure out what Tanya's trying to do with love. Is this sort of a phase for a couple of weeks where she's just out in a different country having a good time, being sexy, having fun, meeting people, or
Is she trying to find
is
love
she
in
trying to
Aruba?
find love? Yeah, I don't know.
Right.
But
I just think it's interesting because she's being really carefree and fun, which is exactly what Sinjin wanted from their relationship, and now she's like, well, I'm just gonna have fun like before our relationship. And
Right.
it's like, it seems like you guys liked similar things and had similar energies, but then they moved back to Connecticut, and she was all of a sudden like, I need you to be home, I need you to get a job, and I need us to have children immediately. And so it seems there are competing pieces of her desires and her personality that like she's having conflict over figuring out what she actually wants, maybe.
yeah, and I think, some of those requests were not unreasonable.
No, not at all.
But maybe Sinjin's like, my job's being on 90 Day Fiancé and getting $1,500 an episode.
That's right. yeah, and I don't know. Some of it, but I did feel like when they were together, some of it was her trying to change him in a way that I don't think he ever said anything else
Right.
that he would ever be different than what he was like when they were together before they got married.
That's
So
true. Also, alliances again. Every time he went back to South Africa, it was,
Yeah.
I miss this place. I want to move back someday.
Mm-hmm.
They were just.
it wasn't meant to be.
It's one of those situations. We do run into these couples sometimes on 90 Day that is not one that's bad and another is good. Both are not angels, but we wish them both well. They're just not right for each other.
Yeah.
My husband and I separated 7 months ago, and I'm finding out who Tanya is again.
So we'll see where this goes. Tanya is now, as we are ending the episode, going on a date with this guy, Joel, who she met, who's a bartender, and like she let him come to her house. He opened her front door himself, and now she's getting in a Jeep with him to go to a remote park somewhere. There's just so many danger flags popping up for me personally. As a lady in a foreign country, I would not be doing these things. I mean, I did when I was like 20, but she's a 32-year-old lady now. Like, I personally, as a 30-year-old lady, would not be taking these risks with this strange man in a foreign place.
Right.
So there's some red flags popping up for me here.
I mean, he was kind of cute, though.
He was handsome, but like, at what cost?
Truly. So, I don't know. I really don't. I have no concept of where to expect Tanya's storyline to go.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's going to settle into actually wanting a boyfriend. You would think that she'd want to date someone maybe that lives in the same town she currently lives
Right.
in, if that's what her goal is.
Yeah.
But, you know, sometimes it takes a while for us to figure it out, right?
That's true.
So I don't want to be too harsh, but we are confused.
We're confused.
So
Can't wait to see how it unfolds, though.
that's right. And those are the only 4 that we got for this
Yeah.
first episode of The Single Life. Who else do we have that we're going to be exposed to?
We're looking forward to Tim and his ex,
That's
whose
right.
name I don't remember. There's going to be some drama there. Tim, the gun designer.
Yes, the gun engraver.
Gun engraver.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, we'll see. I think it's going to be interesting
Yeah.
to watch it all unfold.
Tim is an interesting character. I don't want to lament on it too much, but I did enjoy his arc.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time remembering why I enjoyed this arc, because he doesn't seem particularly exciting,
Yeah.
but
I think I can't remember, the gal that he was with in Colombia, who's now with Jesse,
Yeah.
whose name I don't remember.
apparently not anymore.
Oh, shit.
Breaking news.
Drama.
Yeah, I saw it on today on the
Whoa.
subreddit, but Jennifer? No.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway, she was pretty mean to Tim, and I think that endeared us to him.
That's true.
Because she really wanted him to be this manly man, and he didn't live up to her expectations, and that endeared me to him a little bit. But he's also a gun engraver, which makes me skeptical. So anyway, it'll be interesting to watch that story unfold, but we will react to that when the time comes.
Certainly. Do you think we'll see the return of those tall leather boots that he wore at
At the last tell-all? I hope so desperately.
And other breaking news, Truffles passed away. The dog.
Truffles. 17 years old.
Yeah.
Absolute crypt keeper.
But you know what? He spent his glory golden days in Mexico.
Sounds pretty glorious
Just
to me.
retired. It was
Yeah.
beautiful. But it was very funny for a full year when Kenny would post pictures of Truffles. People would just comment, "I'm so sorry for your loss." And he would go, "No, he's not dead. He's still alive. It's just a cute picture." But he just looked like the crypt keeper.
Yeah,
So
on death's doorstep for years.
I love this universe.
Yeah.
Please keep watching. Enjoy it with us.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. We'll wrap this up. But we'll be back next week with reactions both to Happily Ever After and also The Single Life. So get ready.
Get ready.
Thanks for being here. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye-bye.